right, Mr. City Manager, I think bring us to our last item on the agenda, the GO Bond question number 2, if I'm correct.
Yes, sir. Since the time that the council adopted the ordinance calling for our election in December, we've tried to use our study sessions to highlight the different portions of the general obligation bond question so the community's aware of these issues. Tonight is the final such presentation, which is bridges. So the Deputy City Manager, Lisa Reynolds, is here to give that overview for you.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I appreciate you letting me come talk to you again about question 2. A few weeks ago, we spoke about streets and sidewalk components of this question. Just again, question 2 is a $55 million question in total, $30 million dedicated to overlay and full and partial depth repair, $10 million dedicated to sidewalks or to schools, and that final $15 million bucket in this question dedicated to bridges. Just to highlight the need overall, we have 68 bridges in our inventory in the City of Independence. 5.5 of those are currently closed. 2 of the closed bridges, we are moving forward with repairs thanks to ARPA funding, but the ARPA funding alone doesn't cover the full cost of either of those repairs. So additional funding is needed. And in the next 3 to 5 years, we've got at least 3, if not 4 or 5 bridges that will be facing the same closures if we don't find funds to take care of those. I do want to also mention, in addition to the 68 bridges, we have over 600 storm culverts in the city, but 21 of them are large scale enough that the average person would deem them bridges instead of culverts. So they're different and then they're not inspected by MoDOT like the rest of our bridge inventory is. But again, there was a $3 million component as part of the bridge package that would be dedicated to culverts. There is no grant funding currently available. We've put in repeatedly for the very few grant programs that exist for bridges. We have some hope of funds coming for the Kentucky Bridge over Rock Creek, but nothing guaranteed. So while we continue to apply, there's no current grant funding available for those projects. And some of the challenges that we face with bridge repairs, or just the bridge situation in general, is that conditions can change very quickly. The Chrysler Bridge that was most recently shut down, there was no plan to shut that down this year. We just, in the last month or so, completed our inspections with MoDOT, and the determination was made at the time of that inspection to go ahead and close the 1 lane of the Chrysler Bridge. And I say conditions change quickly. And I'll show you the list. We've always talked about 14 bridges being named in part of this package.
Thank you.
This is now our list of bridges of interest, and you can see it's up to 18 already. And I apologize for not including this in the presentation, but these maps never really view well, so easier to just have it in your hands. So you can see they're not only scattered all through town, but just since we've started talking about GO Bond, the list has grown from 14 to 18. And again, these are all bridges, not including the culvert component. Another issue that we've seen, we have bid out specifically the Chrysler Avenue Bridge for repairs and gotten 0 response. It appears that most of our bridge projects packaged by themselves aren't really a big enough project to interest most contractors. So the goal then would be to put these bridges out a few at a time. That's kind of the limiting factor, is our ability to appropriately inspect the projects as the repairs are underway. So we don't want to package them one at a time. We're trying to package larger groups together so we hopefully get more interest in the bid responses. And then of course the challenge just continues to be that there's, again, no dedicated funding source to bridges. Yes, it is an allowable use of the transportation sales tax to repair bridges, culverts. Again, you've seen this slide before. Just that language is lifted straight from the bond language for the allowable uses of the transportation sales tax. But again, that tax brings in roughly $12 million a year. And you can see from the breakdown here, we're at $11.75 million. And that the parts that aren't listed here would be 6 staff members and materials, salt, patching materials and things, just operating supplies and things like that, that go to the maintenance of the roadways and the actual work performed. So nearly $5 million in pavement maintenance operations, that would be overlay and seals, almost $2 million in annual debt service, and then $5 million for our matching grant funds for the various federally funded grant projects that we have. So, as promised, list of 14 bridges. These are the ones that we have repeatedly talked about. This list has been out there, but again, it's been added to very recently, and that list will continue to grow. And again, just highlighting, this is just the bridge component. We've got 21 culverts in addition. And for all of you that remember just this last summer going into fall when the Bunchu culvert failed, when culverts collapse, they collapse quickly and catastrophically, usually taking at least a lane of traffic of the roadway with them. So any of these that we can address, obviously, we can look at it in an inspection and think it should be fine for the year, and then weather and the ground shifts, and we lose a lane of a street. So we would just be targeting, again, those culverts with that anticipated $3 million of the 15. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions.
Very good. Excellent job. Thank you. Any questions? This question's probably been asked before, so are we going to work on, all the bridges at once, or are they prioritized, or?
So we will attack the ones that are closed. So on this list, that's Heidelberger, both the Kentucky Avenue bridges, the Lexington, and then the Chrysler Bridge. They're already actively closed. We're working on 2 of them. They're already in design and moving forward, but those would be our priorities. And then working this list, we will prioritize based on traffic counts and also distance or time required to detour around that bridge. Got to account for emergency response and things like that, and also just how many people are affected by the closure.
Right. So, yeah, thank you for that, because it helps me understand the formula, because there have been people who have asked me that, so thank you.
Sure.
Anyone else? Other questions? Very, very well done. Thank you.
Thank you.